Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna cover something that I put previously in the teaser subject, and that has to do with this mighty Studer A820. That machine is very well known and it is subject of many people's dream simply because of its substantial cost and also complexity. We'll talk a little bit more about its features and issues, if you will, in a second. But for now, this is what you are listening to. The machine is behaving very well, and as you can see, it is connected to my latest head preamp, which has now some minor modifications done to it, with comparing to the previous video where I featured that particular unit. The modifications are very simple. I've added another row of connectors to the back panel. If you look here at the back panel, you will see additional 4 connectors arranged in a row. And that's basically my attempt at making it more convenient. The input connectors are wired in parallel with the RCA connectors that unit already had, and it allows you to plug in either balance cable or single-ended RCA cable without making any additional changes. And I also added another pair of parallel output connectors. You can see them here. Those are output connectors which are basically wired in parallel with the stock outputs, and they provide for more flexibility. So now you can connect external meter bridge, for example. Simply because, as you can see here, this machine doesn't have meter bridge. It is a bridgeless model, which I like, because essentially there is less junk in series with your signal. And I don't need a meter there. I don't need all the switching facility. I can do it externally in much cleaner way. And removing the bridge hopefully provides a more direct path for the sound. Now, I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, have seen the Studer A820, at least the pictures of it. And it is a very impressive machine. It is heavy as hell, and it's loaded with features. It's got very extensive microprocessor control, and it allows you to do quite a bit of different stuff with it. Perhaps stuff you will never need in your normal life, and that's okay, as long as it doesn't get in the way of sound reproduction. This particular drive is probably the most complicated and most advanced tape drive that Studer has ever designed. It is very complex, but it also works like a charm when it works. This model has some known quirks. Specifically, the tape tension system can get into the oscillation. It is a more or less known problem with this machine, and there are some ways of adjusting the tape tensions and calibrating it, but still there are some additional modifications, including the microprocessor code, that you could do to make it a little bit more stable. Here we have a closer look at some of those mechanical features of this wonderful, wonderful machine. The manufacturing quality of this piece is simply astonishing. It is a typical Studer and taken to the highest possible stage. This machine doesn't have the meter bridge, but it has all other functions and features. And some of them you're gonna like. Certainly being able to calibrate the machine using the keyboard is a very nice feature. And advanced tension system is very, very good, as I mentioned, when it's working. And it works most of the time. Overall, it is as close to a dream machine as you can get. Now, I have never made any secret about my reservations about the Studer factory sound. And this machine is no exception. Unfortunately, if you just use it in stock form, you will get the typical Studer wail on the sound, if you will. It's like you're listening through some heavy blanket hanging between you and the speakers. And some of you might not even notice it. It's not a very serious defect. But if you have a high resolution system, then you will probably notice it. Yes, you can make some minor improvements. You can recap the input preamplifier circuits, and you can also replace the stock output boards with a transformer-less kind. And I did it on this piece. It started its life with the standard production transformer coupled outputs, and I was able to obtain two very nice transformerless cards, which are now residing in this unit. And that made the sound better. Did it make it up to my expectation? No. And therefore I started on my search for, yes, you know what it is. You know where it's heading. External head preamp. Now this model has a bit of a complication because the head block of this model contains the preamplifier, a small solid-state preamplifier based on some couple of transistors and op-amps that boosts the signal before sending it down to the audio cards. Is that really necessary? It may be in some environments. But if you have very quiet environment, then pretty much that's superfluous and you probably don't need it. It only gets in the way of better sound. However, if you would like to listen through stock electronics, you have no choice. You have to go through this head block preamplifier. And that preamplifier is the same as used in some other models. Certainly having this preamplifier makes your job of external connection a little bit more difficult, because you have to connect to the heads before they get to the amplifier circuit. So in this regard, Dan Labrie from Myriad Magnetics was able to help me with this. He designed his own preamplifier circuit board, which includes the switch